Frederick Kotemenka me moachi emma kwaba eba eye Kessben match so we aboko there.
Yeah, me be my major so I said me sorry because like the settings no air amicakra. So I couldn't show up the video. Sorry for that.
No problem. I mean it's fine say yes accounts is here. Now I have seen a more press release regarding the issue of a inadequate budget allocation to the Ministry of Works and Housing in the 2026 budget. Clearly you are now telling us it's a budget at force and king for 2026 they call a Ministry of Works and Housing very low. Tell me how much was realized for that in the first place.
Yeah, okay. The kind me be my match yaw na me in na second year the amount na ebiso aka Kessben TV any akonya wodiamaye say wote yenka say say yeni anje no bi ho efa yi budget ne ho no na mo so ma frɛ ya yeso e be chichire mu kakra. We are bleeding in ourselves. Yedi yaw pa.
Okay.
Na ye yaw diri na ko pim say President Mahama say before answer na obey president impono say kushia no about 5 or 6 months and sana ye beto aba no ye ni President Mahama e bon koma as a Tenants Union no ne ma ye hu say ono na ban ya oba ide say yetime bo no oba bibi to say low cost housing or bet my expand social housing na what sika twitwiri di na ankampa abeboa na wo share budget finance minister be di na a more infrastructure based budget a more infrastructure, so it's a year of infrastructure, so a total amount of 375 billion Ghana cedis.
And I remember in our manifesto, we have a pledge to expand housing.
Okay, Frederick, what do you mean? Pacho to assume my why?
Little Kayas.
Okay, Yanko.
Okay, very well. The issue was President Mahama no. Omeyehu say one of the issues were very, very demanding Ghana for rent and tenant issues. Because Obi Timamuni not ha one baby or spending a lot of money rent issue. When you be also you aware say Ghana an international standard no. If you spend more than 30% of your income on rents, on housing, just say it is not affordable. And you know, any President Mahama kumudie no, any board share no, and be any tenant union no, echo ball the housing policy no, you could go, you could do the cheap. And you did man because you would give you mapa. I will President Mahama housing policy anymore. Now, who share policy every year, and budget every year, about 375 billion. And a bansi obey a conhuma o senebu e dia boa various sectors nina. Now you could see say offer the bit say education oma 39.23 billion. Offer health oma 22.8 billion. Offer interior oma 12.58 billion. Offer defense oma 10.77 billion. Offer roads about 5.38.
Hello.
There is a component I was say Akosombo resettlement village, there's a resettlement. So the component, is not even outright for housing per se. Recently, what video about here? President Mahama alluded to the fact to say, indeed, there's a problem with the housing issue. Or some reiterate here, and that he made mention. Issue say, a bit more what may I expand it. The ultra budget was a district housing, district low cost. Can you say even that 500 million, no, it is for the public sector workers. It's for the security agencies. It's
over position yam say na online ni twetwesi so over position yam am na fe what was na we say low cost housing na mampanyi ka ho asem no for hwan ne hwan mo
for the public sector, it's for the teachers, it's for the security agencies and other people working in the public sector. Obet mortgage, obet outright. It has no components for renter. But still minimum. No, almost about 95%
about rental. No, how do you want to situate the rental within this mix where we a refined data to tell workers that we have, and then if we know say these are the kind of workers that we have the data to it. I'm okay to use so could be a data no to clearly who are also Ghanaians are also renting, and we are saying say this identified. I mean, your friend is saying group you bet me abwa momo so many renter. Am I not part of that same? I mean, people na ye be dynamo monana.
My brother, I say you can enye bonnet. Basically, almost all the public sector workers are tenants, more or less. Yes. About 90% of them. Yes. I agree. But my point is say, what the policy ba, what the budget ba, what the basic diama, 5% of the population now, sebi, omi yesu minimal. Na 95 for the ministry be amomo. 95 no, any here man no markets. Other people on your private work. Say what did she say? Papa, now so in the form of any system. You don't include them. How many Ghanaians, my brother, can even take mortgages in this country? And you know that 500 million now, President Mahama Eddie Banono. It is not meant for just even not about even 10% of the population. About 5% of the people in that land they never benefited. It who can now compare. Say this particular budget, President Mahama is not really interested in housing per se. Let me be very frank. Because the amount of budget what health, what agriculture, shelter, agriculture and health, as Abraham Maslow says, is a basic necessity. Ghana government should understand, say, housing is a basic need. We are not supposed to beg for housing. It is a right guarded by the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. And our president even alluded said a problem. So why do you even look at compare health, compare agriculture and what have you? Then decide say agriculture and as a housing is not a priority. And for that reason, I will do A, B, and C. My brother, if you care to know, you can employment equal the value chain of housing. Say you're building construction. Can you imagine the value chain and the employment it will create for the artisans? Have you measured it? Now, I don't understand why government come and go always run away from housing. Is it because the Ghanaian people also think, say, it is so sudden. We are stuck.
Okay, so
and we are shocked.
Okay.
About what is happening, yes.
Okay, so Frederick, is it you see you were able to even determine that almost if Aban is solving housing problem regarding the public sector workers he's solving almost about 5% of the whole system. Now tell us, what is the data telling you when it comes to that said ordinary Ghanaians who are there? What are the numbers? What are the figures we need to play with?
Okay, let me go to this pyramid. We have three tiers, right, of the needs. We have those of the 5%, the least one. Then we have 60%. That is those who are in majority, whom when if you give them any subsidy, unless social housing, they cannot even pay for anything. And we have 35 middle class in between the public sector workers and what have you, who can even seek for mortgages somehow, some way. But 65% plus the 30, making 95, are deprived that it is not possible. It is rare, and that I'm scandalized. I'm surprised about President Mohammed's vision. I think that we have been deceived so much by the president. In fact, we were giving the president honeymoon for just the first year, but having realized the second year, he is not giving any regard to housing. He thinks that housing is a less need, and for that reason, the number of people in this country who are fighting, who are dying, who are suffering, who are evicted. Even if, let me ask you, health. So even you are even pumping about 11 point something, 13.9 billion our health. Don't you know that among baby now they are not secured health wise? So the most important and the reasonable thing that any person can do to solve the situation, is to solve the problem from the base, which is rent and housing, because you must create the enabling environment. In any case, President Mahama, according to the even skywalker, allowance of a low cost housing for about 10,000 people. And I don't know whether it's a new project is about to start. If it's a new project, what is the problem? What is the point of the Seglame project? We wanted President Mahama to should have come clear. But
he has come clear. He has come clear with this Saglame project before. Even when he was, doing his campaign, he did mention the low cost housing. They're going to re-deal with the Saglame project. And even when we even deal with the Saglame project in Ukraine, the sector that you're talking about, I'm sure you are talking about the informal sector. Now, when you're dealing with the informal sector, sorry.
Yes.
When you're dealing with the informal sector, Frederick, you and I know it is increasingly becoming difficult to deal with the informal sector. Even revenue collection, when it comes to informal sector, is becoming a problem where we can't even block most of the loopholes that happens with the informal sector. So how do you expect government to deal with an informal sector that does not have, in quote, a disciplined data, that does not have, in quote, a disciplined structure that we can then serve them to say this is what we want to do? So for instance, Okoja say na omusi danusi sukakra no muwia. You're talking about the ordinary woman who is selling at ASBU Kantamantuana Bibi. The person should be able to afford and buy such a house, or probably stay in a low cost house like that. Or no nisikano efa. How does the person pay the mortgage? How does the person go through that structure where the government can get its money back?
Can I answer you, please? Look, when we have a to get data, if government knows that 95% of the citizenry are in the informal sector, is the government not supposed to have put initiatives and to ensure that they can center the system and improve it? Are you saying that if it will take 100 years for the informal sector to be done, 95% of the populace should not benefit? Is that what we are talking about here? If we are talking about the people who join queue to vote for you to come and implement the road policy, the agri policy, 95% of them don't have a place to sleep, and you think that it's not relevant. You think that you cannot put initiatives to ensure that you can help them. Is that what we are talking about? That is a lazy jack approach. It's unfair. It is injustice to the highest level. It is against the right of the people. And the President Muhammad should understand and appreciate the fact that it is not good, and that we are pleading with him. That's all we can do. That he's a listening father. We know President Muhammad to be a listening father. And that we are taking this opportunity on this platform and others, that President Mahama should revise his notes and do the needful. President Mahama has alluded the fact that indeed housing is a problem, and for that reason, over set budget now about 375 billion. Now 0.13% our housing. Do you mean well for housing, my brother? 0.13%, 500 million in the total budget. 0.13% and housing. It's a shame. It's unfair. Okay. Right. And it is wide apart from what President Mahama promised us. Even when we went and met President Mahama, He promised us something, and we are disappointed, honestly.
So the almost about $730 million dollars. I mean, housing revolution now, and you're still not satisfied with what the president had done. But tell me, can you, in overview, tell us the numbers? I mean, the people you're looking at. I mean, in terms of a tenant, when you look at data, roughly to compare the numbers.
Let me help you with these statistics. In Ghana, if you take 10 people, active age of, let's say, from 18 years, there are 20 million people. If you take 10 people, 9 of them are tenants. It means 90% of the 20 million are tenants. We are talking about 11 million.
9% of them are tenants. These 9%.
No, I said yes. I said 1%. 10% rather.
1% of the 10% are tenants.
No, I said 10% out of the 9. Which if you take 10 people, 9 are tenants.
Okay. So let's hold on there. 9% of 9% of that are tenants, right? Out
10%.
10% out of that tenants, are you able to tell which ones are public sectors and which ones are coming from informal sector?
That is where we are talking about that the government has it's not me, Opoku. I'm not government, my brother.
No,
the responsibility of the government.
But you see, government is able to give you data when it comes to public sector. We're now dealing with the informal sector where you have issues. And I mean, say,
I am saying that
percentage now, tenants in a woman.
Yes.
Are you not so sure, say, out of that same tenant you're talking about, public sectors workers are also part of that same percentage now, Nana?
It is possible.
Thank you. So if it is possible, can you then further deduce that same percentage, to tell me how many of them are from the informal sector? Hello? Well, Melusu Frederick Opoku, or General Secretary, National Tenants Union of Ghana.